Can we see who is here?
Sure. Manel?
Here.
Shaver?
Here.
Cassidy?
Here.
Mendoza? Here. Logsdon?
Here.
Lake?
Here. Everyone should have copies of the minutes of the previous meeting. Any discussion, corrections?
Move approval. Second.
Move for approved by Mr. Manal, second by Mr. Shaver. Congratulations. Call the roll.
Manel?
Yes.
Shaver?
Yes.
Cassidy?
Yes.
Mendoza?
Yes.
Logsdon?
Yes.
Lake?
Yes.
And thank you.
Any communication?
I have none.
Okay. Finance Committee?
Thank you, Mr. President. We will be meeting at the at 5:30 before the next council meeting. I believe is on the 17th.
Everyone?
It's in the minutes right behind your agenda.
Is it the 18th? The 17th might be a Monday. So,
And that would be the 18th.
the 18th
18th.
at 5:30. Sorry, I didn't look at my calendar before.
Excellent. April 18th at 5:30. The other committees, are we still paused, waiting for activities?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Waiting, yep.
Well, for one. Mr. Mayor?
All right, thank you, Mr. President. So we have in your new business tonight, this piece of legislation from ODOT. That is a project that is scheduled for 2024 that we, ODOT will be coming in from, on 18 from Bascom. They'll go as far as 587. And so in order to be able to do that piece that is one side in the city limits, one side out of the city limits, they just need city council's consent for that. We don't need to get that back to them until June 20th, I think it is. And that's a project that'll go out for sale later this year and be a 2024 summer project. And then we did meet with ODOT representatives earlier, well, actually last week, to talk to them about the 2025 project, which, you know, just to hit it again, we are still on schedule for what looks like a July project out here on Mid-Block Underpass and Wood Street between Main and Wood Street, South Street between Main and Wood, and then Lido Street from the far intersection of Mid-Block down to the Hancock-Seneca line. And then a 2025 project, which will be an 80-20 share, city share will be 20% of the ODOT project, and we are putting money away for that. They'll be getting back to us fairly soon about what our portion will be in current dollars. We believe that at this point it's somewhere between $450,000 to $750,000, but we are putting that money aside each year to be prepared. So I think they'll want our portion of it probably late in the year in 2024 for a 2025 project. So we are putting that money aside and then having further conversations about how we can continue that paving on Lido Street from the 23 cutoff out 18 to meet that project they're going to do in 24 at 587. And also, we think this piece of South Street here will fit potentially in the 2025 project between Wood and County Line. But we'll keep you up to date on all that stuff when further details come out. So you don't have to pass that piece as an emergency tonight. We have 3 readings on that, and I believe the salt contract isn't due until May.
May 1st.
So we can get 2 readings in on that one, or if you choose to pass that one, we can get that back to ODOT and participate. It's something that we do every year, and we get the best pricing from the ODOT's bigger pricing of the salt. So, yeah, it was kind of fun. So I think that's pretty much what I'm asking tonight. Unless you have any questions about anything else that's going on.
Questions for the mayor?
Great. I wait for what comes next.
Thank you, sir.
Are we gonna have much salt left over from this terrible winter we had?
I don't know, it really beat up our salt supply, but you drive out there, you know, they're fairly full. I think we're hopefully gonna be all right unless this big, you know, April storm comes, but we'll see.
We have what, used 20% of normal, or?
If that, because I think you could probably count on, I don't know, from one hand, but there wasn't that many times where they had the salt, so. Yeah, it was a good winter on our salt budget, no doubt. And the rain has helped to fill the reservoirs up, so, you know, double bonus there.
Great. Thank you. Madam Law Director?
No report tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions for the Law Director? Very good. Now we go to the part of, oh, actually, we've got some prescribed public people. I feel like we should have some Candyman can walk-up music. But, I believe you're first.
Thank you.
Do I need to sign in since I'm on the agenda?
I do not believe so.
I don't know.
We're gonna say no.
Okay, can you hear me fine?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So my name is Kristen Van Kuren Coaster. I live at 850 Corey Street. I thank you for the opportunity to briefly introduce myself. As I mentioned, my name is Kristen, or some people call me Chris, or Aunt Tinny by my nephew. I'm running for the at-large seat on City Council. To just briefly give you some of my background, I'm currently in an administrative role for Perrysburg Schools. I oversee the preschool program there. I love schools, so I've gone back to school multiple times and have multiple degrees from the University of Toledo, all that involve general education or special education inclusion, including a certificate from BG on assistive technology. I'm kind of like thinking outside of the box and how you can kind of make things work for all kiddos. I've served as a part-time instructor at the University of Toledo, all teaching on those topics as well. I currently sit on a couple committees within the district and without. So one of the committees I sit in with the district is CQ community, so a cultural intelligence community. And then I also serve, I'm part of the steering committee for Wood County Plays, which is an organization that brings inclusive playgrounds to areas within Wood County. We've built 2 so far, and we have some other plans. I definitely didn't initially have running for city council on my 2023 to-do list. I actually thought probably opening a small business might keep me busy enough. But then once it was kind of brought to my attention and I considered it, I wanted to do it more than I didn't want to do it. I felt like it was an opportunity to serve the Fostoria community, a town that I love so much, and even when I was away, I came back frequently and would enjoy whatever activities might be going on, but also serve as a volunteer for different things as well. So even while my address for many years was in Toledo, my heart was still here. So I was thrilled when we were able to come back. I think part of my pride and my love for Fostoria comes from my family and the fact that my family has always been pretty people of service. So my mom was a teacher. She started the emergency pregnancy service, EPS, which was in town years ago. My uncle Tom Lonsway was a police officer with so many other things. He was a zoning inspector. He had a carpet cleaning business, all of those things. My uncle Rick Lonsway was a social worker in the town, worked with migrant families, but also worked with the elderly. And at one point, the Commission on Aging, Seneca County Commission on Aging, was named after him. I recently figured out that History Corner has painted over that sign, rightfully so, it's no longer there, but that's what it had been, said the Rick Lonsway Community Center. So I think a lot of those things are what have filled me with also the need and desire to serve. In 2020, I came back to Fostoria, and I was excited to see how such a chunk of the community was pulling together to revitalize Fostoria. And I was so excited that I wanted to figure out how I could bring like my two passions together, Fostoria and children or the youth. So that's kind of where Calico Charlie's came from, the whole idea of like, what else could we do for younger, like kids, but just the youth in general, but also bringing that history part. So I have a big passion for the youth and the young children, so I really, between, Calico Charlie's is something obviously I'll be working on, but I think that this also could be a great opportunity for me to kind of bring my passion and focus for the youth to City Council as well. Additionally, my time in the education field has taught me a lot about the importance of collaboration and open communication in building strong partnerships. I always tell the families we serve at school that it is an honor to be entrusted with their children. Many who are nonverbal or have communication delays. So it's a big deal to have that kiddo dropped off and they virtually don't know us. I feel like being entrusted with that honor in that phase of my life is also the same with if I would have the potential or the opportunity, I should say, to serve on City Council. It's also an honor, I think, to be entrusted with such an opportunity. And that's all I have to say. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Ms. Crop?
All right, well, good evening. Can everyone hear me okay? We good? Okay. I'm here tonight just to speak to a proposal that was submitted to City Council today. My apologies that you got this today. We expected to get the documents that we needed to complete this application from Peterman Associates at the end of this week. They came this morning, so we put it all together so we could get this in front of you today. So this is just the application period that we are submitting to you. This is a proposal to amend the current downtown Fostoria DORA. The American Legion Earl Faust Post 73 formally requested a parcel owned by their organization, which is the parking lot behind their building, be added to the existing downtown Fostoria DORA. This parcel is shown on the map, and the inclusion of this additional area would make the amended DORA 23.85 acres, which is a 0.45 acre increase, so just under a half acre. So we still fall well within our parameters. But on the map on that first page, and there's also a map in your application that highlights that parcel in that area. The Legion formally requested this addition in a letter that was sent to Mayor Eric Keckler, dated March 13th, 2023, and that letter is included in the application packet. While amending the existing DORA, the additional amendments are proposed. We have updated some rules about the DORA cups. The restrictions on the number of cups purchased at one time has been removed, and the stipulation that drinks must be served in new unused cups was also removed. The rule now simply states that drinks must be served in an official DORA cup. Reuse of cups is at the discretion of the establishment and, of course, in accordance with the Seneca County Health Department guidelines. We chose to propose the changes to the cup rules really to reduce the amount of trash generated from the DORA and the overall impact on the environment, as well as allowing for the future use of non-disposable plastic cups if that desire ever arises. Since we submitted this application to council earlier today, we have noted one change that does need to be made in the application packet. On page 8 of the application, there is an error. It talks about, I believe, used cups. It's on page 8. If used cups must be disposed of before entering any establishment, that did not get updated. So we will update that and get you an updated application to amend that section. But that was a correction made today. This amended application also reflects an updated list of permit holders located within the DORA. That has changed since our initial application last year. High scores in the VFW were removed and the Honeybee Winery was added. These updates were simply made to reflect the current permit holding establishments inside the existing DORA at the time of this amended application. Any new permit holder inside the DORA will automatically receive an outdoor designation on their liquor permit. They don't have to be on the initial application or the amended application. The state just asks that we give them a list of current permit holders within the DORA during the time of the application. In order to move forward on this proposed amended DORA, we must follow the same course of action that we did when we created the DORA. The mayor must submit a full application to City Council, which that application is the full application that was sent to you today, and this serves as the application. Within 45 days of submission, a public notice of the application should be issued once a week for 2 consecutive weeks in a local newspaper, and within 30 to 60 days of public notice, City Council can pass an ordinance approving the amended DORA and then submit to the Division of Liquor Control. Once approved, then Fostoria may move forward with the amended DORA. Those changes would go into effect. But just as a reminder, during this entire legislative process, the existing DORA remains the same and nothing changes with that. Are there any questions? We did speak to, something I didn't know, we did speak to Mr. Cunningham, who owns the property and the parking lot that sits next to the Legion. You'll note his parking lot is not included. We did speak to him and he does not want that part. He does not want his parking lot added. So we did have some of those conversations as well. Questions? Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. You may ask yourself, what's so special about these people that they get up here at the timer? Well, they called in advance. And anyone is certainly welcome to do that. You can call, contact the clerk, she will put you on the official agenda. And so there's nothing available to anyone. I don't know if anyone to think that there's any special favors or priority or whatever. You just need to know in advance and sort of what you're talking about. So, that said, now for the 3-minute portion, members of the public wishing to address council may come forward, state your name and address, make sure you sign in so that we know exactly who you are and can spell it correctly. We have 3 entire minutes.
Good evening. Renee Vogelsong, 702 East High Street. Got 2 small issues to bring up. First one is East Fremont Street on the 200 and 300 block area. There's parking. I brought this up about 4 years ago. There's parking on both sides of the street. It's a very narrow street. It's a highly used street, especially people coming from the stadium, coming back into town, or anybody on that into town from the stadium east uses East Fremont Street as a main thoroughfare. Well, parking on both sides, 2 weeks ago, I went through there with my Colorado. It's not a big truck, it's a medium size. There was 4-wheel drives parked on both sides of the street. Of course, neither one tight to the curb. I barely got through without scraping mirrors. If an emergency unit wanted to go down through there, they never did it. It just wouldn't have happened. I don't know what needs to be done, but somehow one side or the other needs to have no parking. You can't take all the parking away because there's no curb cuts. So at least have them park all on one side of the street. But it's just way too narrow. This is going from the railroad tracks east on East High Street, or East Fremont Street. Another concern is they was putting the new fencing up at the stadium. About 3 different times, the 6-wheel truck, small truck, not more than a dually pickup, 3 different times I noticed they go around the curve on East Springfield, or East Springville, onto East High, and there's the water main piece there, manhole cover, and it is right there at the blacktop at the curb, and it sets up a good 6-8 inches. They've hit it. One time it knocked their boards off the side of their truck. They had to stop and go back and pick them up. I've seen one of the city 1 tons went around there, or 2 tons, whatever it is, went around there. It hit it here just a couple weeks ago. Something's got to be done with that. We live right there on the corner. One of these times somebody's going to be, granted they shouldn't be going over 25. Matter of fact, the curve is dangerous at 25. But somebody hits it, they're going to be in our yard. We don't need that. We don't need our porch taken out. If they could look at that, I know that was brought up a number of years ago, but it's still there. It's been marked with a green X, if that means anything, a circle and a green X. That's been on there for about 3 years, so whatever that was. The other thing I wanted to bring up is there was just a statement given out by the Fostoria Police Department on the amount of dogs running loose. We actually administrate one of the local Fostoria pages. We have noted on that a number of times the same dogs getting loose, being out, people taking pictures of them. Hey, it's loose, it's running, it's going to get hit. Somebody needs to come and get it. And other ones will say they got these dogs and needs the police department or somebody coming. Granted, the police department shouldn't have to go get them, but after I made the post about and shared the police department's thing, being on their side, I pulled up the ordinance on running dogs. And in the ordinance, it actually states unrestrained dogs shall be taken by the police, dog warden, or humane officers. Well, granted, that don't say they have to, but it gives 3 options. Either the police, the dog warden, or humane officer. So that means one of the 3 needs to do it. Dog warden, got 550 square mile radius of Seneca County. The dog warden can't be over here and focus everything in Fostoria. We need to get this to the people. They're responsible. They leave their dogs out. There is part of the ordinance, which is 505.02, the D, whoever violates this section is guilty of a minor misdemeanor. You follow that up, a minor misdemeanor is a fine up to $150. Well, it'd be nice if maybe in the ordinance it was reflected that they will be fined. In order to get their animal back, they will be fined $150 instead of giving an option. You got to curb it somehow. Yeah, we got 2 small dogs. Heaven forbid, they never got out. We were a fenced-in yard, very secured fence. Could it happen? Yes, mistakes can happen. But these that's constantly doing this ruin it for everybody. So if this ordinance could be relooked at and maybe figured out how we can put it into the hands of the pet owners to be more responsible. And if one of mine did get out, I would be just as liable. I wouldn't want to be. I don't want mine to get out. I'm going to be out frantically searching. There are babies, but some of these people, I don't know if they care. I really don't. Because you see them out running, you see them posted, and they're still posted the next day. They're out running over in this neighborhood, that neighborhood. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. They heard the call of law and ordinance meeting council was looking for stuff to do.
Yeah.
Other members of the public tonight? Please.
First time my name.
Thank you. Tammy appreciates it.
I do. I came to today because,
Can you state your name?
oh, okay, Sylvia Quiroga,
Thank you.
736 Bridge Street. I
Thank you.
didn't teach you, wanted me to say that. I wanted to thank the city and the city workers for completing knocking my tree down. And I just wanted to know, you guys know that I appreciate it. And I had another one that I wanted to thank Mayor Keckler and whoever was there helping for the Easter egg hunt. I really appreciate it, and my grandkids appreciated it. So thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate it. Good evening, Mrs. Fillier.
Good evening.
Well, good evening, everybody. I just need some guidance as to what I'm supposed to do in a situation that has occurred here. I'm in a contractual agreement for a lease on a piece of property here, where I'm allowed to have free use of this property for a certain term. And then first right of purchase because it's still for sale. The question I have is, during that lease period, if some other entities are using that piece of property, and it's, my landlord says I have full entitled right to that piece of property, who do I go to find out what my rights are on that piece of property?
You'll need to contact the private attorney.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Other members of the public tonight? Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Rapp. I live at 1243 Township Road 201 in Tiffin. As many of you know, Mr. Lake, I served as the judge of the Tiffin-Fostoria Municipal Court during the consolidation of the court. I'm running again for my old position. After the unfortunate demise of Judge Marley, I was asked by the Supreme Court to consider coming over and sitting. Fostoria has a long history of having an independent court going back to the 30s. And what I wanted to do was make sure that we were going to be able to maintain services over here in Fostoria. So it was very important to me that we were able to do that. Sat down with Mayor Keckler. I don't know if Tom was part of that. I know that Paul Fiesel was. We sat down, we had some pretty long negotiations, and we were able to get something that everybody was able to live with, and we were able to still have court over here in Fostoria 2 days a week. For me, that's very important. I have family that's in Fostoria. I wanted to make sure that Fostoria continued to have enough services over here, court access. It was really important for me that we were able to maintain that. I think that I did that well. We were able to save the city a lot of money during some tough financial situations, some tough financial times. But I'm running for my old spot. If anybody has any questions, I'm here. If you have anything you want to ask me about, I'm open to hear what you have to say.
I'm sure that they'll catch you afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming over.
Yes.
We appreciate it. Oh,
You gotta be tough on crime.
Well, I did the job for a lot of years, and I think if you have any question about what kind of philosophy I have, you might want to ask police officers, zoning enforcement officers, and see what they have to say. How's that? I'll let them speak for me. All right? Anything else? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Other members of the public tonight? All right, seeing done, we move forward with all business. That's your motion, ma'am.
An ordinance adopting an amendment to the 2023 financial recovery plan for the city of Fostoria and declaring an emergency.
That was the third reading of that ordinance.
Move to adopt.
Whoa. Someone want to take the second? Ladies
I'll
first.
second it.
Ladies first. We'll get Ms. Mendoza,
Okay.
the motion, seconded by Mr. Lake. Call the roll, please.
Manal.
Yes.
Shaver.
Yes.
Cassidy.
Yes.
Mendoza.
Yes.
Logsdon.
Yes.
Lake.
Yes. That becomes 2023-24. 24. Whenever you're ready.
An ordinance adopting and amending ordinance number 2022-75, permanent 2023 appropriations by appropriating from unappropriated funds in the water fund and declaring an emergency.
That is the third reading of that ordinance.
Motion to adopt.
Second that.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Cassidy, second by Mr., oh my goodness, why can't I remember?
Logsdon.
Hogston. One of the kids at school today said that her brain wasn't braining today. I tend to agree. Call the roll.
Manal.
Yes.
Shaver.
Yes.
Cassidy.
Yes.
Mendoza.
Yes.
Logsdon.
Yes.
Lake.
Yes.
That becomes ordinance 2023-25. 25. We put an amendment apology to Mr. Logston for liking on that. Good grief.
I forget too.
That concludes old business from the old man. New business, please.
An ordinance granting consent to the Director of Transportation of the State of Ohio and authorizing the mayor on behalf of the City of Foster, Ohio, hereinafter referred to as the Local Public Agency, LPA, to enter into contracts with the Director of Transportation necessary to complete described pavement repair projects and declaring emergency to exist.
That is the first reading of that ordinance. Next one, please.
A resolution to authorize participation in the Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT, road salt contracts awarded in 2023.
That is the first reading of that resolution. Very good. And that concludes new business. Anything else that we have in session-wise?
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for two matters. One is confidential business information of an applicant for economic development assistance. Second is pending or imminent court action with no business to follow.
I'll second that.
We have a motion to go into executive session by Mr. Shaver for those causes. We have a second by Mr. Lake. Let's call the roll, please.
Manel.
Yes.
Shaver.
Yes.
Cassidy.
Yes.
Mendoza.
Yes.
Logsdon.
Yes.
Lake.
Yes.
Okay, it is 6:34. I will mention real quick, this is no business, miscellaneous still afterwards. No business.
You can move it around if you want.
All I just want to make sure everyone's aware, May 2nd is primary election day. So the meeting on May 2nd will actually be the meeting on May 3rd. So that's my thing. Okay, we'll be back.